back, everybody. Angie, my goodness, welcome to Awakening Aphrodite. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here and talk with you today.
You know, there's so many angles that we could take on this discussion today. As I was preparing to have you on the show, Angie, because when I first heard about you, like I mentioned in the introduction, I heard you on Seth Holhouse's amazing podcast, Man in America. And first of all, I was so intrigued by your natural, healthy products that are all organic and family made and all that. Because, of course, that's right up my alley as a holistic health practitioner. But then when I really heard about your story and your deep commitment to your spiritual life and, how the typical, you weren't getting any results with your health in the conventional system and went the natural route and nature's medicine. I just found it all so inspiring. So I'm like, my goodness, I got to have this woman on the show because there's so many angles we could talk about. So I'd really love to share your story with the audience with the hope that it's going to connect with someone that might inspire them. Maybe they're having health challenges and they're not getting any solutions and answers. And just to share a little bit about your story and maybe give somebody some direction is some hope they could do to help themselves. So why don't you start with us a little, just a little background about, your story and what brought you to your business.
It's kind of crazy because I feel like it was all led by God because I was a hairstylist for a long time. I owned my own salon. And so I had that fast-paced life, right? I would eat in 2 seconds and then,
Yeah.
So eventually that caught up to me. And, as a single mom and then running a business and employees and everything like that. So eventually I was getting really sick. And I started looking into natural medicines because I've been sick for a while. Well, now all of a sudden I'm looking in the mirror at myself and I'm 88 pounds.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was scary to even look at myself. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I have been I dealt with panic attacks and things like that for my whole life. So now I know everything's connected, but I didn't before. So for 20 years, I've been going to doctors. They've been prescribing the same things, and I'm still at the same place I've always been. So I'm like, that's not fixing anything. Then I started diving deep into herbal remedies. I went to Barbara O'Neill's courses. I took courses with Dr. Thomas Lottie. I went to the Herbal Academy. And then I started figuring out, I'm like, you know what? I don't think what the approach the doctors are giving me are actually helping me. Now, I found out through my own research, I went and had my own tests done, and I found out that I suffered from dysbiosis and that I was quite close to developing colon cancer.
Whoa.
And I knew something was up because I was just dropping weight. And I was doing what the doctors were telling me. So after we found out that I had dysbiosis, I was told, let's go on an antibiotic and let's go on prednisone. I knew right away, because of everything that I've learned and because of what Barbara had told me, I knew that my gut at first was a mess. Dysbiosis, it's a mess. Everything is all intertwined. Everything's uneven. If I would have took an antibiotic again, it would have wiped out everything. It would have wiped out the good and the bad. It would have put me even worse than where I was at. So that's when it turned around for me. I'm like, this isn't working. I've been doing what they've been telling me to do, but this isn't working. So I went different routes. Like for antibiotic, I used oil of oregano. For prednisone, I ended up using boswellia, which is frankincense. Works just as well. So I'm like, I'm going back to my natural herbs. I'm going back to what God told us to do. This is, this is not synthetic. This is natural healing that has always been done for centuries. So I started doing that. I started getting better. I had to spread my word and tell everybody, look, it's possible. I'm seeing it. I'm witnessing it firsthand. And that's it. I was addicted ever since. I can't get enough of it. I just want to tell everybody,
So how did you really learn the meat and potatoes of it? Because, a Google search it's so unreliable, right? Because we know that's a very, controlled result engine. Let's just say, to put it kindly. Yeah. How do people are just having a hard time finding really legitimate guidance that doesn't have ulterior motives and isn't, completely censored. How did you find really solid, effective, training in herbs?
Well, like I said, honestly, I prayed. I got on my knees and I'm like, I need guidance.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I was able to go to a Barbara O'Neill seminar, which was a week long. And it was out of the blue, last minute. And I went, and everything she said just resonated with me and spoke to me. And it was all holistic and natural, and how herbs work with your body, not against your body. And that was it. Once I started listening to her, I ended up taking another course with her. And then the Herbal Academy, which is online. People can go on there and take little classes just to learn how to make an easy tincture at home, so they have medicine to store in their homes.
Nice.
So little things like that. I just couldn't get enough. So I'm everywhere I could grab. I had books, and I just couldn't get enough.
Okay. So you actually were able to do it. And then how did you kind of decide like you're going to go for it? And because it's one thing to have a hobby, or it's one thing to do it for your own health, and wow, that's great, it's helping me. But to take that next huge step to make it a business, that's a whole nother ball game, right? Like how did that really come about?
Well, I've been doing hair for such a long time. And then after learning everything, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know my hands on these chemicals all the time.
Yeah.
So I started to make my own like hair growth serums and things like that. So it started that way. And I would sell them in my little shop. So then it started getting to where someone would be like, I got back pain. Do you have anything you can make for that? And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. So then I'm like, I'm going to add this to my website. I'm going to start a little website. I had like 3 or 4 products to begin with. And it just took off. I think people are looking for healing the right way. So, it took off. It took off so much to the point where I didn't have to do hair anymore. I was so busy making these products at home because it's time consuming. Some things they have to sit for like 8 weeks. Everything takes time, and, but yeah, I feel like I was led that way. And it's scary to just let go of everything and listen to your instincts. But I did, and I put my full trust in God. And so far, He has not failed. He has not failed me.
And then, other than, the basics of, okay, like frankincense is good for this and whatever, when someone came to you for like back pain, like what were you, just like a mad scientist and trying different mixtures and just kind of waiting to see if it worked? Like, how did you actually make a formula when you tell me, hundreds of herbs you could have chosen from? How did that actually work?
Yeah, once you learn about the herbs, you know which ones are going to help certain things,
Okay.
And so I would pick the top, like, and put some cayenne pepper in there because that brings the heat. There's certain little things that help you make a formula into what it is. And because I learned so much about herbs at that time, I'm like, oh, let's try this. Let's try it. And it worked, and it helps people. So then I started getting into tinctures, which are more medicinal, and it's helped so many people. I've had my mom's neighbor. He had cancer. He went through chemo. He came home. He was bedridden. He was not getting better. I brought him over some of my tincture soursop. He took it for 3 weeks. That man was out mowing the lawn, putting weight back on, walking around again. And it's amazing. And now he's like, I need your soursop, So there's things that can help people that we just don't know. We're not told. And then when we try to tell it, we're silenced,
That's right. That's right. We all know about that. Okay. So I don't want to jump ahead too much, but I definitely don't want to lose this point. The soursop. It's, first of all, explain the name.
Okay.
And what exactly is it?
Soursop is an amazing fruit. But what we do is we use the trees of the leaf. Okay. You can use the soursop fruit itself, but we use the leaves. We put it in a tincture, anti-inflammatory. It's got anti-cancer properties. It's got so many things that help your body. It even cleanses your liver and your gut. all from one amazing tree. And so I started when I worked really closely with a lady who had chemo, but she decided to stop chemo in the middle of it because she wasn't getting well. She decided to go all natural, and soursop was one of the things that she used to help her get over her cancer. And she ended up becoming cancer-free. So I'm like, I am looking into this soursop. So then I realized that it helps a lot of people who have cancer. And I can't say that it's going to cure the cancer, but it's going to help you, and it could help to the extreme.
And that's a tincture or a tea?
You can do either way. You can do it in a tea. I sell them in a tea form, and I also make them in tinctures. So it depends. Like if you like to drink tea, if you don't, a tincture is just putting a couple of drops on your tongue and you're done for the day, So there's so many different options on how you can take it.
That's really cool. We're going to talk more about some of the other products in a second. But how did you parlay, though, all your hairstyle clients? I want this, I want that. And then I just have this picture of you like in your kitchen, like a million jars everywhere, right? Like a mad scientist having fun, like you're an alchemist, it's amazing. But how did you really take it that next step to make it like you got a beautiful website and actually be able to, get the products in the hands of customers all over the country, have the supply, have things not go bad? It went from probably just you making the tinctures and the mixtures to maybe a trained team. Then you have to train them. I mean, keeping things from spoiling. Like, talk to us a little bit about that element, because that's just a huge step, again, from the person who found something that helps themselves that they made in their kitchen to making it a national, if not international, online business. That's a whole nother level.
Yeah, and I think that took off because what I was doing was I was doing hair and doing that, but I was also on TikTok. And I would go on there and I would explain my product, what it does, but I'd also teach them how they can do it at home. They don't have to buy it from me. They can do it at home because, I feel like everybody should know these things. My TikTok exploded. I got up to like 170,000 followers until I got banned. Yeah. So they took me down. I mean, they even took me down. I was just talking about putting on the armor of God, and that was taken down. Yeah. So I got to a point where I kept getting banned. And then my Facebook was 116,000 followers, and they just took it away from me. Yeah. So all because I'm talking about herbs. And I always say, this is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you my experience and what it's done for me. But I had a huge, almost 300,000 followers, so I could, reach people. And then they took that away from me. So that's when I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to start my own podcast because you can't, they shut you down for everything that you say. So how can you help people? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it was really funny when the pandemic hit and how like they were banning like how to can produce at home and how to freeze dry food. And like, I mean, come on, if that didn't set off red flags for people, like, all the homesteading stuff was getting flagged and banned. And it's like, oh, so we don't want people to know how to take care of themselves at home naturally? Like, why is this an issue? But yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that, unfortunately.
Well, that's when it kind of sparks, if you're getting banned and stuff for talking about helping people. Yeah. Then there's got to be a reason. They don't want you. They don't want you helping yourself at home.
So, do you have any ideas like how people that are listening? Because a lot of people in health listen to this show. What did you do? Like, how did you keep your message getting out there when you were getting banned? Like, what were some of your solutions for that?
Well, I kept reopening TikTok accounts, and then they would be banned, but people would follow me. And then also on my website, I have an email. So most of my clients were already on there. And so I was able to be like, okay, hey, I got banned on here. Follow me here, Yeah. So yeah, okay. That's kind of like the trail that followed me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's talk about the connection between toxins and fatigue and hormone imbalance and chronic illness and all that stuff, because this is a major problem Well, everything I just said is a major problem these days. I mean, we're just getting bombarded with toxins, and our bodies are, although we have natural detox pathways, our bodies aren't designed to deal with the volume, not to mention the types of toxins that we're just being inundated with on a daily basis. So explain to us what you found or some of the causes of fatigue and hormonal problems people have had, that, you know, like your clients, and some of the remedies you might have for that.
Well, it's the toxins, and I believe that everything begins in the gut, everything. So the gut is connected to the brain. So when the gut's off, the brain's off. So if you're experiencing panic attacks or fogginess in your brain, you got to deal with your gut first. And I think before you deal with anything, you got to deal with the gut. The gut is everything. So once I started learning that, I started diving into that. And if you start healing your gut and your liver and things like that, your body starts to being able to heal. There are so many toxins everywhere we turn. I mean, everything. So it's like our body was not built to hold all these toxins, and a lot of them are synthetic that shouldn't be dealing with. But so we have to take the initiative to give our body what it needs to heal, because it can heal, but we have to give it the right conditions. So like our lymphatic system, that doesn't have a pump. So if you're at a desk job all the time, your lymphatic system's not moving, right? So if your lymphatic system backs up, which is your garbage collector, which gets rid of your toxins, then it stays in your body. So there's simple things like getting a little rebounder and jumping on a rebounder. That will open your lymphatic system. That will get you things moving. But if you go to detox and your lymphatic system is stuck, or your gut is stuck, you're not clearing it out. So you have to go. A pill isn't going to do it. You have to go layer by layer and start where, okay, my body, it's been 40 years that I've put my body through this. A pill isn't going to just take it away. There's a reason it's happening. And let's get to that reason instead of just taking this to cover it up, because it's still there. Yep. So going with the herbs and doing things like that, I knew that you can actually get to the root cause and get to root healing, which is the key to everything.
And how do you do that with somebody?
So usually when I start with people, if they call me, most of the time it's a hormone imbalance a lot with women.
Okay.
So I usually like to do that. The hormone cream I formulated was, based with what I learned with Barbara O'Neill. Mm-hmm. And then I know it's kind of a weird topic to talk about, but everybody needs to do a parasite cleanse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, between 80 to 90% of people are walking around with parasites and have no idea.
Yeah.
And parasites comes your mold and your toxins and your candida. They're all one. And they hide in between each other. Mm-hmm. So you have to, I think the most important thing is you do a detox, get the parasites out, get your gut back to working so that your immune system can fight like it used to. Because it can't anymore. Once you have these parasites thriving and candida thriving in your body, you can't heal properly, no matter what you take. Like for instance, my parasite cleanse. First, it gets to the microbiome, because parasites like to hide in microbiome, and they go in. So I'm not just throwing herbs at you and you're trying to kill them, because that's like trying to clear out a drain without pulling the hair out. You need to get in stages. And I've learned this. So what I suggest for anybody suffering is you definitely want to start with a detox, a gut detox, a parasite detox. And then you want to make sure the hormones are balanced, because that can mess everybody up, whether you're menopause or not menopause. Barbara O'Neill says everybody can benefit from getting your hormones back into order, because that causes so many issues. So that's normally where I'll start. Okay. Because once you cleanse that out and once you get your hormones balanced, then we can work on the problem. But if you don't get rid of and clean out that gut, you're still going to have those issues.
Okay, I think I would agree with that. Definitely detox. And because even if you're taking in all these wonderful remedies that you're taking into your body, what people don't understand is there has to be drainage pathways open, because You can, and you might know the answer to this, Angie. I can't remember, but there was some doctor, it might have been Brian Artis, but there was a doctor who mentioned, how do you know if you have parasites? Well, there's one way to know for sure. Take your finger and put it on your wrist and feel. If you feel anything beating and you have a pulse, you have parasites. And it's like people don't understand. It's just kind of like a given, unfortunately, that you have them. And so let's just say you take your parasitic aid and, the best tincture to help paracleanse. But if you're not moving that out of your body, you're going to kill all those parasites. They're going to be circulating in your system. You're going to have a die-off reaction. You're going to be even more sick because they're stuck. It's like the toilet's backed up and you keep, using it rather than clearing the pipes. You've got to make sure the pipes are clear. So I like your suggestion, your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, breathing, back to the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system cannot pump, as you mentioned, on its own. It needs either movement or breath. Those are the only two ways. So breathing, movement, exercise, these are all very important. Toxins come out the skin. So you want to sweat. That's why the sauna is great. And again, exercise is great. Or just sweating in general is great. Of course, lots of clean, healthy, filtered water, properly structured. I mean, these are all essential to help the body cleanse and detox, because that's the other critical half that I see a lot of people doing is I'm on like we're recording this in the spring, which is beautiful. It's a perfect time to do a liver cleanse. Traditional Chinese medicine always says spring is the time for cleansing, which it is, like all of nature. So that's wonderful, but you've got to make sure your liver and everything is working right to help your body do the other half. Otherwise, you're going to just totally overwhelm your system and feel even worse. So that's a great place to start. I think that's very important. I love your holistic approach.
Yeah, because you'll end up getting sick. I mean, if you're trying to kill these things and everything's blocked, where do those toxins go? They go right back into your bloodstream.
Yeah.
So the important thing is to get everything moving again. And then you go in, you detox that out. And then your immune system's stronger. Now we can work with something. So now we feed everything that our body needs that works with our body. And that can be as simple as teas. Teas are medicine. There's some people who are like, I don't drink tea because I don't like it. I'm like, but if you look at it differently, if you look at it as medicine, it just changes everything.
Okay, I like that idea because that's me. I don't like tea. Like, I know, it's like, I just heard a great podcast the other day, Mike Adams, I'm sure you know who he is, and he was mentioning the benefits of green tea. And it's like one of those things, like, we all know, we've all heard green tea is good for it. It's like, I just don't like tea. I don't know, because I'm not one to put honey or sweetener in, something like that. But I like this angle, Angie. I like this. So look at it more as medicinal. Talk to us more about that, because I'm going to have to start to use that in my brain.
Yeah, look at it as it's medicine and it's healing you, because I don't like the way tea tastes either.
You don't? Oh, good. So that makes me feel better.
Yeah, but now that I know when I'm taking this chamomile or if I'm taking valerian root to help me sleep at night, I know that it's doing something for me. So it's not so like, I just want to get this tea down,
Right.
So, and then there's also, like I said, the other options for people who don't like teas. You can make your own tinctures at home. It's the same thing. So like if you made a tea with soursop, instead you make a tincture with soursop. So there's so many different options if you don't like one or the other, which is nice.
Okay. So for example, I have the Heart Love tea, which, by the way, don't let me forget, I'm going to ask you what the magic ingredients are when you name something Heart Love. But how would let's say I don't want tea with Heart Love tea. How would I make a tincture out of that?
So those herbs that are in that tea, you would take that, put it into a tincture.
What's that?
Okay, put it into a mason jar.
A mason jar.
You have your herbs. A mason jar, you need 50% of your herb, which is all those herbs that are in there. And then 50% would be either alcohol, if you're going to make an alcoholic tincture. I do
like
glycerin.
Vodka.
Yeah,
vodka.
Straight. It has to be 80 proof.
80
so
proof.
You would take half herb, half 80% vodka, and you would leave that sit in a dark area for 6 weeks. And every day you just go and you flip it. Because what happens...
Okay, wait a minute. Sealed?
Sealed.
Okay, so you close the mason jar.
Close the mason jar,
Okay.
put it into a dark cabinet, and then go in there every 1 or 2 days and you just flip it. So what's happening is it's drawing out all the medicine properties of that herb. So it's the same thing as a tea. It's just drawing it into your tincture now. So both ways, you're getting the medicine benefits. Now with the tea, you get it because of the heat, right? And then with a tincture, you get it because it's sitting there for 6 weeks and it's just extracting all that great medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the tincture would be more potent, no?
I feel it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll still get great benefits out of a tea, but the tinctures, they sit and they're not in the sun. They're like, they're not heated. So it's old fashioned. Let's just pull straight medicine out of there. And that's why I like the tinctures.
I'm going to do this for my own benefit as well as the audience. Make sure we get this right, because I think this is beautiful that you're sharing this. And it really is testimony to how much you just really want to share this medicinal information. It's lovely. Thank you for being so generous about that. So we would take the tea, put it in a glass mason jar. And then, so let's say the tea comes up to here and we use that exact same amount of vodka, right? So it's the same measurement. We seal the mason jar. We put it in a dark cabinet. And then every day we just turn it over upside down for 6 weeks. And then at the end of 6 weeks, we would transfer that to little dropper bottles that are amber colored, or leave it in the mason jar, or what?
No, you would transfer it after 6 weeks. So you would strain it out.
Oh, strain it. Okay.
Yeah, you would strain all those herbs out so that you just have the juice of the tincture. And there's your medicine. So then you can put those in little 2-ounce little 2-ounce droppers or things like that. And normally you only need like a dropper full a day, depending on which herb you're working with, or what you could take it for preventative, or you can take it for if you're suffering from something. So there's different ways, but
I love that.
It's that simple. It's that simple. Everyone can have that available at home.
Right. This is why I'm like, okay, wait, I might be able to do this.
You can.
All right. And then refrigerated, and how long does it last?
You don't need to refrigerate them. They can sit on your shelves. They last for a year. Sometimes if you're using alcohol, you got up to 2 years, 2 to 3 years. But I use glycerin because I sell it online. So
you mean you don't use vodka? You use glycerin instead?
I use glycerin tinctures. Yeah. So you can either do glycerin if you don't want any alcohol, because some people prefer not to, or you can use alcoholic tinctures. They're both either really great. So the same thing you would do if you wanted a glycerin tincture is you would use food grade vegetable glycerin. So you have your half of your herbs, then you fill 75% of glycerin, 25% of water. And that's it.
Oh, with some water. Okay. So, and the reason why you would use glycerin instead of alcohol is what? Because I've heard it's the tincture that is more potent with real alcohol, because it burns off or whatever. I don't know what the right term is, but it's not like you don't get any alcoholic effect from it once it's tinctured. So
right, you don't, and it's strong. It's a good thing to use.
Yep.
I like alcoholic tinctures. The only thing is kids can't use them.
Oh, really?
I mean, they can. It's not going to really affect them, but I feel safer for a kid to use a glycerin tincture. Or there's some people who I cannot have alcohol at all in my system. There's the glycerin option, So you have both options and they work just as well.
Really?
The alcohol is a little bit stronger, but you're getting just as, you're getting the same medicinal effects, not having to do the alcohol, if that's something you choose.
Okay, that's really interesting. Honestly, I haven't, you're the first one to say it really doesn't make a difference. I've always heard that it's much more.
The alcohol is a little bit stronger, but see, the glycerin, when you break up, the cells of the herb. So usually we'll take a old, one of those old grinders.
Yeah, mortar pestle, yep.
Yeah, and I will break that up so the cells of the plant are open already. So that vegetable glycerin becomes just as strong as your alcoholic tincture.
Gotcha.
But if you can take the alcohol tinctures, those are great too. Those are very, very strong.
Now, can you make a salve with it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So normally what I do with salves and things is I'll infuse my oils, like say I take coconut oil or olive oil, put the herb in there, and I infuse that together. So the herb is in the oil, right? So then after you cook that or let that, work, then you can take that oil and you can mix it into with your shea butter and all that. And then now you have a salve, because it just works just as great on your skin, because that's one of your major organs too, that everything breathes in and out of. So yeah, you would take the same thing. You would take your oil that you infuse, and all these things, once you learn them, it's very simple things, that we can all do at home and help our children, and little things like that. So I have a little, it's called Boost, and I give it to my son, and it's just kind of like a vitamin, because it boosts his immune system every day. So those are things that, we're not getting at the store. We're making at home, but it's helping us while we're at home, So that's why I think everybody should know about it and be able to do it. And if they don't want to do it, that's when you buy it. But if you could do it at home too, that's taking control. And I don't think they want us to have that control. So
agreed. Wow. So what are some of the most common requests you get, like for different ailments that you're hearing people are having problems with?
A lot of it is hormone imbalance.
Okay.
A lot of it, people want to know how to detox the body, or some people ask me, is there ways of detoxing the vaccination out? And, things like that. Everybody's trying to find solutions herbally on how we can get things done. So, you just go back to your roots, and you get there's books too. If people are looking for ways at home, there's Rosemary Gladstar has a really good introductory book. It's a great start, easy for anybody at home to start. It'll go over everything. That was kind of one of the ones I started with too. So
it's The Great Start by Rosemary Gladstar?
Rosemary Gladstar.
Okay, never heard of her. Okay.
She was like way back in the day and kind of started she was like big into the herbal things, but see, none of us have really been into the herbal things. We've been following modern medicine for all this time. So now it's like a whole new world opened up. That's why I get so excited, because it's helping people. Oh my gosh, if I get a phone call, the hormone cream. I had a lady call me who said she was trying to get pregnant for 2 years. She started my hormone cream. She is now pregnant. She is 7 months. And, those type of things, I don't know, you just can't.
Incredible.
Yeah. The feeling that you get from that is more than money. It's about people are healing, and that's what God wants. God intended our bodies, not for us to live sickly, so it's time for us to take it back into our own hands.
And your body's always trying to take care of you and be as healthy as it can possibly be. It's not the enemy. Like, the symptoms aren't your body working against you. It's trying to fix itself. But we don't understand how our body works. And the symptoms are frustrating because we don't feel like we have any answers to it, So a lot of people, they don't know where else to go other than to the conventional doctor. I mean, if I hear that every day, it's not an unusual day of somebody like, where do I go for help? I mean, I don't know where else to find someone to help me. So, and, like we said earlier, it's sometimes people get shadow banned and stuff. People can't find the healers that are getting results for people, but hopefully we'll be part of the solution. So what's the magic, Angie, of the woman's hormone aid? Like I got this woman's hormone aid oil, and it says it's infused with vitamin C. But what makes it unique, you think? Why do you think it's so effective?
Well, there's 2 major ingredients in there, which is wild yam.
Okay, the yam.
And chasteberry.
Oh,
now
okay.
Those 2 work to help to get your hormones back into balance.
Gotcha.
And they work with your body, not against your body. So they start to slowly bring you back into balance. And those are the 2 key ingredients on that one. I think everybody who is going through perimenopause or menopause, it's amazing. I take it. Even after, when you're done with all your cycles, it still helps, because throwing your hormones off balance completely, it's everything. You're going to experience everything. The thing is, our body's always trying to tell us we got a pain here or a pain there, and we kind of brush it off. that's our body talking to us. And I think we need to stop and listen to it a little bit more instead of just brushing it off to the side.
Agreed. Okay, you even have one that's for teeth whitening.
Yes.
Woohoo.
That one's a really big popular one because it's got bentonite clay in there. It's got activated charcoal, which helps to whiten. Bentonite clay is pulling out the toxins. There's a little bit of frankincense in there for inflammation. And it just, the difference you feel on your teeth, it's just so clean. And you have nothing to be afraid of. There's no harmful chemicals.
Right.
So
it's not going to destroy your enamel like the stuff, the strips you get from the store, which I used to get when I was in college. And I did damage to the enamel of my teeth because of those darn things. I wish I knew you back then, Angie. All right. And then you even have one for hair thickening and growth. Wow. What's that one all about?
So that one, obviously, rosemary is so good for your hair. Okay. But that one I made way back. I started because after I had my daughter, who's 6 now, I lost so much hair. And this is when I was first starting to dabble into it. And then I started learning and I made a hair thickening. And this guy, it's got so many benefits for your scalp and your hair and everything. I never had thick hair, ever. I've always had thin hair. But it helps. It helps to start growing. And my hair started growing back. And now that's one of our biggest sellers. A lady said she went to her hair salon and the stylist was like, "What are you doing? Your hair is growing so fast and it's getting thicker." And she's like, "Really?"
Yeah,
I'm
baby.
like, "Oh, that's great." So all these little things, these little vitamins, it's because our body is full of toxins and we can't get these vitamins to certain organs or our hair or our skin because it's all being taken away from what's in our gut and everything like that. So you clear that out, you clear your body for healing, your hair starts growing, your skin starts glowing. I mean, you're back to being what God wanted you to be.
And then we awaken Aphrodite, baby. That's what it's about. I love it. That's so awesome. So any other products in particular that are some of your favorites or best sellers that?
A lot of people love my anti-aging. That has frankincense and myrrh.
The cream, right? Face cream.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a really big seller. That one goes on so smooth and it smells like church because of frankincense. But it works too. You know, it works because it helps with like I had a dark spot here. But you got to take it in both ways. Dark spots, what is that telling you? That's not only an age spot, it's also telling you you're having trouble with your liver. So right away, I'm working on my liver and I'm working on the frankincense topical and it's gone.
So when you say working on your liver, do you go to your detox blend or what do you do, Angie?
I actually have a blend that I take every day. It's soursop, liver, and gut detox. And so it has soursop in it. So it has all those anti-cancer properties, but I also put things in there to help the liver and to regenerate that, to get the bile moving again. So because things get stuck. I mean, it's like never getting an oil change on the car, you know? That's what happens to our body. So when you see things or your body's speaking to you, it's time to help it out a little bit. It's asking for help, basically.
And the item that you would recommend for people to do that is which one? The leaky gut, maybe? Where do they start with that? Like helping their liver?
Leaky gut is great. That is one that will help to fix because some of us have, you know, the colon gets so worn out that everything starts to leak from your gut, from the colon into your body. So that helps to go in like the marshmallow root. It's so slimy that it actually coats it. It coats in here too. So if you're suffering from acid reflux,
so your
marshmallow root, it'll sit and it'll coat everything. And once you start repairing that, then that's where everything starts to work again. So, because we go in, we'll have a headache and we'll just take ibuprofen, or if we have this or that, it's not fixing anything. It's just temporarily covering, and I think it's important for us to get back to our roots, find out what the root of the problem is that our body is suffering from, and deal with it the way God intended us to deal with it. And
I would totally agree that the first basic step would be to make sure your detox pathways are working and do things that will help them work and stop doing things that are screwing them up.
Yes, exactly.
I would agree. That's a good first place to start. So As we get toward the end here, I can't let you go without explaining the wonderful name of your business. So go ahead and explain to us. Well, first of all, say the name, please, and explain to us the origins of that name.
Here's what's really funny is when this name came to me, Back to Our Roots, it's Back to Our Roots 222. When this came to me, I didn't realize Revelations. And I just kept hearing this and I didn't know why I wanted to use it. So then I look up one day and I'm reading my Bible in Revelations 22:2. The leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. And I was like, it all just comes together. So it's talking about the herbs that God has given us to heal us and to heal the nations. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do, is trying to help people heal. So Back to Our Roots 222, just kind of, I'm telling you, I feel like everything just came. God guides you if you ask him, So
it's such a beautiful story. And I'll say too, that leaves symbolically are indicative of growth and rebirth. So that's very, very, it's just multi-layered name you've got there. It's literally and figuratively significant, which is really neat. Yeah. And the fact you've got roots in there, and that, you've got a botanical based business. I mean, there's a lot of elements to that name is really, really special. I think it's great. So what's next for you? Where do you see this going, or what would be your ambitions from here, Angie?
I just want to continue to get the word out. I want people to know how to heal themselves at home. I'm starting a podcast so I can actually talk about an herb, because I couldn't even talk about the herb. So I'm trying to they're not stopping me, is what I'm going to say. I'm going to continue to get the word out because I've seen people heal, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I've seen people who are diagnosed with cancer that heal. It is possible. And it's out there. It's just we have not known about it. Mm-hmm. It's been kept on the silence for obvious reasons. So I won't stop, and I will continue to tell people how they can heal themselves and how they can do it at home. Even if they don't have the money to buy, there's ways of doing it at home and helping their children from colds. I mean, little things, so that we are not so dependent on the medical system.
I love it. It's all about self-empowerment and getting back to our roots. Exactly. Back to nature and the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
I love it. I'm so, so glad you agreed to come on the show. It's exactly why I wanted you here, to help get that message across. Angie, any final words today before we sign off?
Well, I would say this. Sometimes life throws you in a different direction, and it can be scary. It can be scary, but when you hear that tugging, something's telling you, I would follow that instinct. I mean, I was a hairstylist forever, and I just dropped it all and trusted God and went for it. And
what was the tugging? Your interest in the herbs? Like what?
Yeah, it changed me. I just was so, and then when people would heal from it, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to know this.
Right.
So
gotcha. Makes total sense. So beautiful. I love it.
Follow your instincts is what I feel. And don't be afraid to take a chance.
That's brilliant. And step through the doors that are open for you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so excellent. So how long have you been in business then? Maybe just a couple of years?
Just a couple of years on the herbs, yeah. It's been about 3 years that I've been kind of messing with it. But the first year was just little things, So, and then it's just expanded so big. So I think it's because people are searching for true healing and trying.
So no more hairstyling.
No, I don't do hair anymore.
And
I miss the talking and the conversations,
interaction. Yeah,
but I don't even color.
Yeah, no, you don't need to.
So I don't even do it to my own hair, because now I know what the chemicals could do. But
I thought about that.
Yeah, but there's other options. There's some clean chemicals for the hair, but I won't even do that. Your body's a vessel. God gave you this vessel, and I'm going to take care of it now that I know how to take care of it, because I saw what could happen, and I was so sickly looking. So
isn't that incredible?
Healing is possible.
Now, do you have a warehouse? Or
No, I
like,
used to
where's-
have a little shop and a little
Okay.
store, but
Yeah.
it got so big and everything was online because I was TikTok and Facebook,
Right.
So my whole entire basement now is my office and my
Okay.
warehouse, and
Okay.
it's nice. I'm in my own home now, and I get to stay home, and I have a 6-year-old, so it's nice. I get to
Perfect.
be with her and then go down and work when she's, So I've been blessed every single way going
That is
on
so
this journey.
perfect. And do you have employees?
My employees are my older daughter and my
Perfect.
older son.
Okay.
So
Wow.
it's all
Great.
family business, and
Mhm.
they're so into it too. They went with me to see Barbara O'Neill. So they're so passionate
Awesome.
about it too. So they come and we all work together.
I'm
and-
sure they love mixing tinctures, and plus they can feel they're experiencing the benefits, and how beautiful for you for them to carry it on and share it together. And it's just, that's so beautiful. What a perfect story. So inspiring.
Thank you. I've
love
been
it.
blessed. So
Yes.
I'm blessed.
Well, you're blessing others. That's the way it works, right? This is the circle.
Yeah.
So inspiring. All right, Angie, how can people find these amazing medicinal little products?
I have a website. It's backtourroots222.com. You can find all my products there. And if you have questions, my email is there that comes straight to me. So I read everything.
Mm-hmm.
So just go on there, take a look, and contact me if you've got any questions. I'll help you walk you through it if you need to.
And I understand you gave us a coupon code for people, for our audience.
Yes. So because Amy's amazing and asked me to be on here, if you order anything and use Amy's name as your coupon code, you will get 10% off.
So just type in AMY, Amy, at checkout.
AMY.
Yep. And then they'll get that. Thank you so much for offering that to my audience.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We appreciate it. I'm speaking for everybody here. We really appreciate it. And if you forget, everybody, that link as well as the code are also on my website, my e-store, because a lot of people just listen to the audio of this. They're driving or multitasking. So don't worry. All that's in the show notes, Angela's contact information, as well as the links and the coupon, Amy, at checkout. It'll be there when you're ready. And definitely start with the detox stuff. Have fun shopping. I know I've got some of my favorites. Like I love your face wash exfoliant is great. And this herbal vapor rub is cool. No more Vicks vapor rub, guys. You don't need that. And you know what? I'm going to try this Heart Loved tea, but I'm going to go for the tincture now that you've inspired me to
Yes.
be my own little mad scientist over here.
Yes. And you'll be so happy because you've made it with your own hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a great feeling. And
Thank you for helping my self-esteem. I will feel very successful after I make it medicinal tincture. Well, that is definitely one of my dreams, is to make my own medicine. I'm right with you on that one. So thank you for giving me that little push.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, Angie Tomky, thank you so much. Everybody, please check it out. Let us know your favorites, and we'll see you next time on Awakening Aphrodite.